What's going on, guys? Today is going to be kind of a shorter video. We're just going to be going over some of the 4Ks I have. Quick little intro here for you. Nothing too fancy, no frills, nothing. So without further ado, guys, let's get into it. So we've got the 4Ks in the middle of the top shelf. Got one there. And then I do have a couple here I'll go through before I go through the rest. These are like boutique label 4Ks. And I obviously keep those with the boutiques. So first up, we've got Alligator, one that I wasn't the biggest fan of, actually. I never watched this one, so when Scream Factory released it, I had to pick it up and blind bought it and gave it a shot. And I don't know, just not a lot of alligator action in my opinion. Maybe worth a rewatch though. Krampus, one of the best Christmas horror movies in my opinion. Very dark atmosphere, a lot darker than I was expecting, but yeah, really enjoyed Krampus. And then we've got Madman, one of the best standalone slasher films ever. And then we've got Scanner Cop 1 and 2. Check my channel. I have a Vinegar Syndrome collection video there. I talk more in depth with those. I love those movies. Up next is the double feature of X-Ray and Schizoid. X-Ray I love. Absolutely love X-Ray. It's a really good standalone slasher. And then Schizoid, I just can't, I don't know, it just wasn't my thing, couldn't get into it. And then Dead and Buried, fantastic movie, dreamlike atmosphere, awesome. Really good, really enjoy that one. And then, alright, let's get started on these ones then. So first up, we've got the 3 from Hell Steelbook from Best Buy. This thing is insane, so gorgeous. If you take this little clear sleeve off, just the artwork on that is beautiful. I hated this movie the first time I saw it, but, you know, upon every rewatch, it kind of gets a little bit better. American Psycho, pretty classic. Never did pick up the Best Buy Steelbook. I don't like it enough to, like, upgrade. Arizona, very interesting one. More so, like, dark humor meets kind of thriller tendencies. It's like Danny McBride kills people, and it's really good. Yeah, violent, dark comedy. That's kind of the best way to put this one. Really enjoy that one. Beetlejuice, absolute classic, one of my favorite movies of all time. Blade, really interesting to see this one get a release. Happy nonetheless though, would love to see Blade 2 get a release because I actually prefer that one. Brightburn, anti-hero horror movie with, you know, some decent gore and whatnot. Cloverfield, one of my all-time favorite found footage films. It really stands up too. This isn't one that I just think of, hey, I'm gonna put in, but every time I do, I always have a really good time with it. Color Out of Space, not the biggest fan of this one. Being somebody who absolutely loves Mandy, I was kind of expecting a little bit more out of this one. Yeah, just not the biggest fan of that one, honestly. Daybreakers, this one had such promise in my opinion. It's like, they set out this whole world and all of the futuristic aspects of this were great, but I feel like it kind of petered out halfway through and just kind of stumbled across the finish line. Dr. Sleep, absolutely loved this movie. This was one of my favorites the year it came out. I went into this one not expecting much because, I mean, a sequel to a movie that was released in the 70s, you know, didn't have high hopes, but absolutely blown away with that one. Really loved that. Then we've got the 2 Evil Dead movies. There's Evil Dead 1 and then Evil Dead 2. Not my favorite franchise, but I can enjoy them nonetheless. Then we've got Ghostbusters Afterlife, another one that I didn't even watch in theaters. Kind of heard amazing things, so I decided to blind buy it, picked it up, really ended up loving it. It was just really good ode to kind of the other movies, and it's how I think you should do kind of like follow-ups or remakes. Really good one. Godzilla, one of my least favorite of the Godzilla and or King Kong modern franchise franchises. Yeah, it's a little on the tame side, a little boring, and then they start ramping these up. Godzilla King of Monsters, awesome to see Mothra and Ghidorah in this one. Just popcorn movie. I'm probably gonna say that with a lot of these because their 4Ks are typically like kind of theatrically released movies, so it's kind of what these are, obviously. You know, you just throw them on, just action, really good time. There's Godzilla versus Kong, loved that one too. Next up is Goosebumps 2. I love these movies, man. I love, like, kind of child-like Halloween atmosphere films. There's a couple more coming up that I'll show you, and a lot of people won't call these horror movies, but if it has like a Halloween atmosphere or like any horror aspects, I like to include it in my shelves. But yeah, just a fun time. Love those movies. Halloween, the original 1978, it's good. Okay, I do that every time. I do like it. I like it a lot. Okay, I'm not gonna get there. I'm not gonna go there. And then we've got Halloween and Halloween Kills. Can't wait for Ends. I love these movies. Next up is the remake of Hellboy, a pretty needless, like, retelling of Hellboy, but I actually enjoyed it nonetheless. Some good horror aspects in this one, and really good kind of special effects. Hellfest, I love the atmosphere in this one. I am always down for a like modern slasher revolving around carnivals, and I just love that aesthetic. And Hellfest really it held up with the aesthetic, but in terms of like kind of there's some great kills in that, but there's a lot of downtime. I feel like if they would have added a couple more kills, then it would have really made that movie much better. And I know it was teased to have a sequel at the end, but yeah, I don't know if that's happening. Hereditary, my second favorite film of all time. It's creepy. It's terrifying. And I probably mentioned this in one of my older videos, but the first time I watched this, it was at a drive-in movie theater, and it was like dry lightning the whole time. It was just a very surreal experience. Love that movie. So good. Still creeps me out. The House with a Clock in Its Walls, another one of those kind of like whimsical, kind of introductory to horror movies. Jack Black, and I really love that one. It has a really good atmosphere. Invisible Man, this one was a little bit more dull than I was hoping it to be. Although I did only watch it once when I picked this up. It is beckoning for a rewatch. Up next is It, Chapter 1. Love this movie. So good. Both of these movies I actually prefer over the old series. There's It Chapter 2 in the back. 2's not quite as good as the first one, but I still really, really enjoyed these movies. Some of my favorite movies to be released the past like handful of years. Jaws, just an absolute classic. Love that lenticular slip. And I actually picked this up. It was on sale on Amazon for like $7.99 or something. I couldn't let that pass me up. Jigsaw, an entry in the franchise that, although it's a little bit unforgettable, it's far from the worst. Kong Skull Island, it's actually my favorite King Kong or Godzilla film ever. The action's great in this, the fantasy aspects, it's just gorgeous looking. I love that movie. Last Night in Soho, probably the closest thing we've gotten to kind of a modern giallo, and I know people always say that about this one, and it's very loosely based on that, but it has a really, really good, I can't remember if it's 60s or 60s atmosphere, and the colors are very reminiscent. There's a lot of kind of throwbacks in terms of the cinematography and the colors used and the way everything looks. Even the soundtrack to, Italian giallos from the early 70s. The Meg, another popcorn movie. You're just a killer shark, massive boy. You know what you're getting there. I enjoyed it. I have a really good time with that one. I always have a good time. Mortal Kombat. One that I watched the first time, I was a little bit let down. As a kid that grew up on the video games, I knew not to expect much, obviously, with video game adaptations, because those never really turn out too well. So when I first watched this, I was a little bit underwhelmed. Upon a couple rewatches, though, with my opinions down low, I try not to think about it too much. I enjoyed it a lot more. It's just a fun action movie with gore aspects. That's why it's in the horror section here. Next is Overlord. Really good movie. Speaking of like video game adaptations, I know this is like obviously not, but it plays out kind of like a video game. Like people say like Wolfenstein and stuff like that. Yeah, a lot of fun. Overlord is great time. No one ever talks about that one either. Up next is Parasite. Probably one of my favorite foreign films released within the past couple of years. It's got a pretty long runtime, if I recall. Yeah, I can't see it. But yeah, it flies by. It's a very entertaining movie. Really, really good. definitely worth the hype. Pet Sematary was a pretty average remake. I mean, in terms of remakes, I think it would stack right in the middle. I know this movie has its haters. It's just very blasé, honestly. Very meh. But at the end of the day, I enjoy it enough to keep it. Next is Possessor. Just a, mind fuck. It definitely made me a fan of Brandon Cronenberg. Can't wait to see what else he does. Some good gore in that one, too. Next is Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. Another one that people shit on, but you know what? I really like this one. I really like this movie. There's a lot of really good zombie effects, gore, kills. It's just a wild, fun time. Alright, then we got the original Saw. Classic. Just a great movie all the way around. As entertaining as a movie can be with just two dudes in a room the whole time. Great movie. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Another one of those kind of introductory to horror for, children. Love this one. A lot of fun imagery. Really good. Also, as a fan of the books when I was a kid, it was kind of really cool to see a lot of those characters come to life. Next up is the Scream, the original. So, just with the new movie coming out, it was a great time to revisit the franchise, and it was just a great time to revisit them all, in my opinion. I even became a much bigger fan after rewatching them all again recently. Just love that universe. It's just fun. They're all high. Every film in the franchise is really high quality. And we've got Scream 5, or whatever you want to call it. Revisited this again just the other night. Loved it. Love it so much. Just all of those movies. Every Scream is great in my opinion. The Shining, the first horror movie I ever watched when I was a kid. I always tell a story of the moldy woman. Just absolutely destroyed me, bro. Just destroyed my dreams for months. Shutter Island, Leo DiCaprio. Really good thriller based in prison. I believe this is a Scorsese film. So yeah, really good. I enjoy that one. Spiral. This is one that, like, the first half of the movie, I was super about it. I loved it. I loved the first half. And then it just kind of, again, just like I mentioned with Daybreakers, it just kind of lost its way for me. And then by the end, it was just like, okay. I mean, they're not really trying too hard, it seemed. Next up, we've got Us. One that I watched in theaters and just hated, honestly. Get Out was one of my favorite kind of debuts by a director ever. So went into this one with way too high of hopes. Picked this one up super cheap at a used place, and with the intent of rewatching it, because I know it deserves a rewatch, because this movie has its fans. So really need to check that one out again. VFW. This was my favorite movie to come out the year it was released. I think it was like 2019. Yeah, just kind of the color. Although I will admit it's useless to own this movie on 4K because the entire film is made to look grainy and have kind of that grindhouse atmosphere. That's the best thing about this one, though. It's just dirty, it's grimy, awesome effects, just over the top, splatter, mayhem. It's just great to, like, that cast is just insane. Love VFW, so good. One's highly slept on. The Witch. Robert Eggers, he is just, he knows what he's doing, man. Can't wait to see The Northman too, but The Witch was always, I actually waited a couple years to check this one out. Finally watched it, fell in love. It kind of really opened my eyes to, like, folk horror. So spooky, man. This movie creeps me out. Speaking of movies that creep me out, Wizard of Oz. Now, hear me out, okay? I know what y'all are thinking. It's in my horror collection. Yeah, I'm gonna stand by that until I die, because this movie's fucking scary. Just rewatched it with my girlfriend like a month or two back, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if I watched this when I was too young and became slightly traumatized by a lot of the things of it, but like the monkeys, the guards at the end, the witch, there's the trees that grab, it's just terrifying. And then we've got Zombieland here, Steelbook. Great movie, just one you can throw on and have a great time with. Doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's surprisingly heartfelt. Really good time. And then we've got Mikey right here guarding Zombieland 2. Double tap. Don't fall, don't fall. Okay. Shocked with this one. Saw it in theaters, was it last year or the year before? Had a blast with it. I like it maybe better than the first. It's close though, but yeah, really happy to own this one. Love the atmosphere. Love that they brought everybody back. And I just kind of love the look of both of these steelbooks together. Let me get a side by side here. There we go. Just awesome. Love those movies. So that's it, guys. That's my 4K collection. I've been not too focused on these, honestly, recently. I've been focusing a lot more on boutiques and whatnot. I'm not crazy about picking up a lot of double dips. You know, I know Scream Factory is trying to release all their movies on 4K, and I'm not really about it if I don't already have it, just because it's like movies from 1980, man. It's like 4K, Blu-ray, you know, whatever. But okay, not gonna get into that. That's a topic for another day. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Follow me on Instagram at Slashincaptain, where I post film reviews with fun facts and kill counts, as well as further pictures and videos of my collection. Also, give me a follow on Letterboxd, where I post all the films I've been watching. That's all I've got for you guys today. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you.